And where is Hey everyone, it's Warriors NRL Fanatics here. Hope you're all doing well and had a great weekend. Joining me tonight to review the One New Zealand Warriors Round 4 clash against the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs from last Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon is special guest actually for the first time on this channel is the Waz Up podcast. How are you going, Leon? It's great to have you on the channel.
What's up, my man? Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, and yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you.
No worries, it's great to have you on. And before getting into it, why don't you introduce who you are and how you became a Warriors fan and were you a rugby league fan growing up?
Yeah, man. My name's Levon. I live in Hamilton. I was a rugby league fan growing up. I grew up in the West Auckland area in Te Atatu, so I was a Te Atatu Rooster junior, and then I always been following rugby league, and then the Warriors came along when I was around 8 or 9, and I really caught on to them at that stage. But then I think the 2001 era was so the 2000 that first run that we made to the grand final really hooked me in as a teenager, and so ever since then I've really been a massive Warriors fan. So I've been through the ups and downs like all of us here, and but the passion that those teams have shown, and the players over the years that have kind of caught me and kept me involved. I just obviously fell in love with this club, and just happy to be doing a podcast and supporting guys like yourself. Creating content to hopefully help our fan base with a bit more knowledge or analytics, but just ultimately just want to share my passion with everyone. So that's really me, mate. Thanks.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because it's great to have like another content creator out there. There's so many of them, so many good ones out there, and just to have you part of the Warriors community is great. So yeah, it's great to have you on board. But what was your favorite memory as a Warriors fan growing up? What was your favorite memory, like a favorite game that you enjoyed the most?
Well, it's funny. I was watching the Stacey Jones interview with Monty.
Yeah.
And I think the one that kind of got me was this game where we played Melbourne in 2001. It was actually the start of us, that run that we had in the 2002 grand final. And I remember we went to Melbourne, and Stacey put it right. We drew with Melbourne in the last round. And Stacey said that when they drew, their heads were down and they thought that they'd failed. And they looked up in the press box, and there was Daniel Anderson and Kempe, and they were saying, we made it. And that was the same thing. I kind of figured out that the fact that we drew, we still made the finals. But we got pumped by the Eels the following week. But that was kind of the big one for me. Was it was like the start of a new era almost. And I think that's when I kind of really got hooked in the game. But that was one of the ones that I remember as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. What player did you idolize growing up? Like a player that you really enjoyed, like a past player?
Yep.
Yeah. Who did you idolize growing up
Oh
as a
man,
fan?
I was a smaller guy when I used to play rugby league. I was like a half, so Stacey
Yep.
was my guy. I think I look back on Stacey's, his abilities. Some of the solo tries he scored were insane. Amazing chip kick, just amazing ball runner. If you really look at it, but he just had some magical moments. And there's other guys like Clinton Torpey was in his prime. I thought was one of the best centers in the world. And so a lot of those guys really inspired me. And then obviously that 2011 crew with Sean, and seeing Sean play how he is playing right now is mind blowing at the moment. But really, Stacey was that main guy for me at the start. Yeah.
Yeah, Stacey Jones was one of the legends of New Zealand Rugby League. He's done great work as well. He's been around for a bit. He's done some coaching also as well. Stacey Jones was, for me, probably one of my favourite players growing up as well. I mean, yeah, just the little general, and I got to meet Stacey last year as well. So
did you, man? Amazing. Yeah, I haven't met him, and I'd love to have a yarn with him at some stage. But that's cool.
Yeah, it was Magic Round. It was not Magic Round. So it was last year, one of the games, Warriors games at Redcliffe. Yeah, so I got a prank photo with him after that game. So yeah, that was awesome. I was starstruck actually, first time getting a photo with him. So it's awesome.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah, but just say hello to everyone in the chat. Yeah, how's it going to everyone? So you've got Sam on Metalhead here.
Oh, that's my man. Yep.
Jacko here. How's it going, Jacko here? He's saying that the 2011 semi-final was the best memory for me. Paid good money to travel there and what a night. Yeah, 2011, that semi-final against the West Tigers, especially given that run we had. We actually lost in the first week to Brisbane.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, that game I remembered because I attended that game. We got flogged on that day, and yeah, I thought we were gone. I thought we were out, but we got a second chance, and we went through the semi-finals against the Tigers, which a lot of people probably weren't expecting us to win, and we won that game. We played on Melbourne.
That was the Kristen Inu try. Yeah. And then that Melbourne game was great as well. That run of games was just amazing.
No, I meant the game against the Storm. Oh, yeah, that's that game against the Storm for sure. Yeah, that preliminary final.
I'll give you one more game that was a great game.
Yep.
It was the Cronulla semi-final 2002 before the grand final. And Stacey puts that kick in behind and Carlo dives on the ball. One of the best moments I've ever had watching a Warriors game. Just amazing. And I think that's the game where they gave all the passports. If you had a New Zealand passport, you got in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it was just a great game.
Yeah, 2002, I was very young back then because I was born in 96. So, yeah, I was very young back then. I wouldn't have remembered much back then. So, yeah,
it was a great moment. Yeah, it was a great moment.
I do remember hearing the story about it. So, yeah.
Yep.
I was sort of starting to just get to know rugby league as a fan because I didn't know rugby league back then. And first game I attended was at Mount Smart Stadium. It was Ericsson Stadium back then, and my father took me to it. So yeah, that was the first time I started watching rugby league, and I didn't know the rules back then. So I didn't know what was going on the field, and the Warriors were playing. So.
And you're probably going to get earful from all the fans swearing, and you're like, "Where am I? Is this a safe place?"
Yeah. And then after a while, that's when I started loving the Warriors. So, and I'm still loving the Warriors now to this day. Just
absolutely
on his team. So, anyway, why don't we get into the review now for the game now? So we'll get into the whole meet and greet of it. So yeah, the game review for the game against the Bulldogs here. So, last podcast, what were your thoughts going into this game, actually, before we go into the whole game? What was your thoughts leading into this one? Because we had no Wade Egan. We had Freddie Lussick at hooker there. We did welcome back some players as well in terms of Chance Nicol-Klugstad at fullback. But, yeah, what were your thoughts leading into this game? Did you feel confident leading into this one, or did you feel wary about this Bulldogs team?
I think past Warriors teams, when they go win an away game against a difficult opponent, it's kind of a trap game the next game if they play at home.
Yeah.
So I kind of had that past experience with the Warriors, knowing that these games can be difficult when you're coming off a high. But I was quietly confident based off of what I'd seen. Especially the defensive structure has been consistent since the first game. But I was a little bit nervous because I watched the Bulldogs and they were a solid side. I thought their forward pack would match us quite evenly. Although I gave the Warriors an 8-point, win, I wasn't surprised once I saw the game unfold that it was going to be tit for tat in a lot of the the forwards and in the back five. But going into it, bro, I was quietly confident based off what I'd seen. Yeah.
Yeah, and that went over the Cowboys, especially given that we went over to Townsville and won that game. A lot of people weren't expecting us to win that game, and
Yes.
we went over there and got the job done, and then came over back to Auckland to play our first game at Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland. And yeah, look, in regards to the way this game started, we actually started off pretty slowly. We conceded the first try yet again. Try to Jacob Carraz. I thought the defending from the Warriors there I think it was pretty soft. I think it was a pretty poor defensive read by a couple of our players there, and I think it was Montoya and Valia defensively on that end. But 6 minutes in, and the Warriors had been trailing. Actually, it was 3 minutes in. Sorry, 3 minutes in, 6-0. So, what were your thoughts on the opening start to the game, regards to how the Bulldogs started this? They had a 6-0 lead. It was 8-0 after a penalty goal. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think just a nervous start. We're having this pattern of kind of nervous starts. I think the Vailea one, I kind of isolated that onto Vailea, but if you look at his insides, maybe not enough communication, and enough guys pushing out. But yeah, I would agree with Jacko there. It was a little bit nerve-wracking, and even there was a period going into that it could have been 14-0, but it was nervous. It felt flat. I think the boys felt a little bit flat, and you could see you're wondering if they were a little bit tired. You could kind of see that they were trying to get into gear. So I think a little bit jaded maybe from the travel and just a big week, and the highs and lows. I suppose Montoya had his 100th game, so these things kind of can build up, and then once you get to the game, the other team just comes in with a lot of energy, and you're kind of a bit shell shocked about what's happening. So I think a little bit of that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think regards to the way the Bulldogs started this game, I mean, complete dominance. I think personally, I think there was some.
Yep.
There was the position was very favouring them. I think they had a lot of the position early on, and ruck speed as well, especially the ruck speed. I think Mahoney was very threatening there. So that note, and just some penalties conceded early on. I think that was the issue as well. And yeah, look, the Bulldogs were just doing everything right, and I think we were just slow to start this game. Just finding our rhythm in that. So
yeah, I just think I think Webby talked about it in the press conference after, is that they've tried to address it, but it's not happening right now, And like Jacko's saying, it needs fixing. I think Webby's saying he's trying to fix it, but it's not clicking. So I'm not sure you can't pinpoint it to one thing. Is it the warm ups? Maybe we're not hitting getting our guys warmed up enough. I can't really tell you. I suppose the coaching staff, and they'll kind of reflect on that, but it is concerning because coming up against the Sharks team next week, that can pile on points. We've got to be careful. Yeah,
it is. It's a bit of a worry actually. I'm saying get a little bit very concerned in regards to our starts, and against the better teams, and no disrespect to the Bulldogs. I think the Bulldogs are a good team. Don't get me wrong, but I think the better teams like the Panthers or the Roosters. I know we played them earlier this year, and slow start actually did kill us in that game.
Killed us that game. Yep.
But just when you come against the better sides, even the Broncos, that especially because the Brisbane are going well at the moment. So I think we need to sort out that for sure.
And it's not that anyone's tired. Like that one was just a poor read and just not focused, and that's where it's like, okay, what's not happening? That the mentality is not kicking in straight away. The guys aren't focused, communicating. So it's kind of fixing those areas. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, just gotta stay focused. Just maybe I don't know if it's a bit of nerves or I'm not too sure. I know it's a bit of a hard to get a gauge on why we're starting so slow there. So. Yeah, but anyway, so we did get a try actually through Viliami Vailea. What were your thoughts on that try that Viliami Vailea scored? Just powered through the Bulldogs defenders and
I think I think SJ was the key there. I think if you look at that scrum base tries are always great. I think, but SJ was trying to get Averillo to bite, and Averillo did, but it was actually a perfectly timed pass to Vailea. And then Vailea just hit that hole perfectly, and then just pure body strength and even patience. You know, he had to wait for Perham to come over, and he beat him. So I'll give Viley a lot of credit for that. Just sort of, you know, following right through on the play, and just he is a physical, you know, specimen or a talent on attack. So, you know, you want him to sharpen up his defense, and then he might be a really good all round player. But I thought it was a really well worked try. I think SJ was really spot on with that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great try. It was just well worked, just the way we made that try go across. So, yeah, I mean, look, those last couple of minutes in that first half. What were your thoughts there? Because it felt like the momentum started a bit of swung in a bit in our favour, even though the Dogs were up 8-0 at one stage.
Yeah, I think Aden, if you look at the interchange, I just looked at the interchange.
Yeah.
So it was Aden and Bunty together came off for Jazz and Dylan. So just kind of watching the interchanges, it was a straight swap for the two front rowers, you know, and it kind of just, we just started to get into the game a bit more. We got a bit more position, and then things started to slowly turn over, and then I think we just started to mount pressure. There were a few drop balls, you know, Dylan dropped a few. If I can remember, and then we kind of let them off the hook a little bit, but it was starting to show signs that we were, you know, really starting to build. Yeah.
Yeah, so half time it was 8-6, and I thought, look, 8-6 wasn't too bad going to half time. Yeah, what do you reckon on that? You know, going to half time only trailing 8-6 because the Dogs had a pretty dominant start, and we sort of got back in it.
I really, if I go back quickly just to that start where the Dogs were up 8-0, it was actually going to be 12-0, and it was lucky for Ed Kossi. Ed Kossi saved us with that intercept, and he caught it. I really felt that if they'd scored there, we would have been really under the pump. So I think, you know, there was a few lucky breaks for us. Otherwise, we would have gone into halftime maybe 14-6. Who knows? But, you know, I felt confident as we got into that second half that we would continue on. But, you know, there's like always a little bit of slight nerves about this game because there was it was quite evenly matched for a lot of periods of the game, you know?
Yep. So just read this comment before I give my thoughts. So Valea is going to be a stroke extender in the coming seasons. He also was great when setting up the Montoya tries. D can be improved with more game time. Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with you there, Jack. I think he had his moments, Viliami Valea. I think he had some moments where he was good. Then there's obviously that moment where he unfortunately probably could have done a lot better in regards to conceding that try, but he had some good moments as well. So that's positive.
No, I agree with you. Yep.
And just echo on from this other comment, Jacko saying that Jazz and Walker like two pit bulls let loose off the bench. Oppositions will grow to hate them. Walker and Jazz Tavanga off the bench have been great. They've added plenty of impact actually. I think they changed the momentum of the game for us. When we were 8-0 down, when Andrew Webster decided to bring them on, so you can see the team start to gain some confidence as well.
Yeah, they have a really, like, if you look at, I've noticed Dylan, like I think of Tohu as kind of setting the foundation, and then Dylan kind of opens the game up. So they change, like Samoan Middlehead saying, is changing the pace. And if you notice Dylan, he starts to get a lot more shifts wide. The ball starts to move side to side a bit more. And so I think, you know, it just really keys in on the fact that those guys are impact players. And if you compare bench to bench, you know, I couldn't see anyone on the Bulldogs bench that had the same impact as what Jazz and Dylan were going to bring. And I thought there was a big one up for us, is that we were going to use our bench a lot better than they did. And it kind of proved right. Yeah.
Yeah, so someone Middlehead saying the Bold brothers changed the pace of the game when they came on, as you saw there the comment. Webby brings them on after the opposition forwards are fatigued after 20 minutes into the game. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, on that one. Yeah, so second half began, and I thought we were completely dominant to start the second half. What are your thoughts on that? We started off the second half, I thought, particularly well, and there was a debatable call, which we'll probably get to. But what were your thoughts on the way we started the second half after that first half?
Yeah, I think we started to really get into our sets. I mean, I think we started getting a lot of post-contact meters around that time.
Yep.
Like, if you look at the post-contact, we might look at that later in the stats, but we kind of started to get more post-contact and get on top of the tackle. And then I think we started to build pressure, and yeah, I think going into that Pompey, try,
Yeah.
I think there were some signs that we were starting to break them down, and then I thought Pompey did an amazing job. I mean, he deserved a try. Yeah, disputable if there was a strip. Definitely, what in my eyes was a strip. But I talked about Pompey using his size and strength, and that was a perfect example. A little bit of footwork beat out his opposite, and then just powered through Adokar, and then even to the extent Kikau. So I think he deserved that one, but really good signs with Adam to use his size.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that the fact that I thought Adam Pompey had a pretty solid game, and there's obviously it's a divided fan base with Adam Pompey. Just some people aren't fans of him. Some people, do like him, but there are divided opinions. But I'll read this comment here from Jacko. He's saying here that Walker has a very good league mind. You can read things in an instant. I don't get why Manly let him go.
Well, I think they probably wanted to keep who's that guy, the number 6? Yeah, exactly. Though I agree with the sentiments. Like, yeah.
Yep. So Jacko's saying here got into the grind second half and actually got on top, which is good signs there. Yeah. So that try, that no try, it was a no try on field by the bunker. The referee on field said no try. He went up the stairs. Regards to Adam Pompey. On replay, from what I saw, it certainly looked like a strip from Viliami Kikau there. But I know you don't really want to talk about referee decisions, but what is your thoughts on that? What were your thoughts on that call when they said it was a no try and a knock on to Adam Pompey?
I think the front on angle was quite difficult. Like, you kind of saw that there was a little bobble, but then there was an angle where there was a back shot, and then Kikau comes down and his hands are like this, so in a raking motion. And I was like, well, that's come on. And like, he falls on his bum, and then he's got his hands going like this. So it just kind of it baffles me sometimes with some of these calls. But yeah, I couldn't get past that one. But that was a typical what you call a strip, and then that strip, that after a strip, it's play on, and Adam picked it up. That was all fair game, and put it down. And I thought that was, and I think the ref let it play through because I thought he knew that it was an actual. The fact that he sent it up no try concerned me. I think if he had sent it up as a try, I think we might have seen it as a try. I was surprised. I thought he let it play through because he actually thought it was a try, but I was surprised he sent it up as no try.
Yeah, and I think he was playing the advantage too. I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, and that was weird too, eh? Like, it was, I didn't get that.
Yeah, I'll read it. Going on to this comment here in the live chat. So, Hucker Time Rugby is saying here, just to take it back, boys, what did you think of Shaun Johnson pulling the hand on Kikau? Early captain's challenge, right call. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, actually? Just to go back on that one, yeah.
Yeah, I think that one, he shouldn't have done it. I get what he was trying to say. That, like, technically, from a technicality point of view, it was actually technically right. We didn't rake the ball. We just split his fingers. we played what's that old game where you bend someone's knuckles and you they try to bend their fingers back. But I don't think you should pull the trigger that early sometimes, because, like, again, you're putting it in the eye of the bunker. You're relying on him to see what you're seeing, and he's not going to see what you want to see. Sometimes they might see that as ruck interference, So I thought we pulled the trigger a little bit. I know Shaun wanted to I think Shaun was trying to prove a point. Like, he's like, oh, look, I beat the system. There was a little bit of that cheekiness in it. But yeah, I thought he should have. I don't think they should have pulled the plug that quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, I thought he was, trying to obviously was trying something, but it was never going to go his way. That call, it was never going to go his way.
No, it wasn't going to go his way. Yeah.
No. Yeah, so just reading the comment here. So Jacko is saying here, I thought Pompey wasn't up to first grade, but he's proved me wrong. He has such surprising power to break tackles and set up his winger. Just ask Valentine Holmes.
Yeah, ask Valentine Holmes how he feels, man.
Yeah, and Samoan Metalhead here says here's a comment here saying, what about that intercept from Kossi? Then Burden was holding down Kossi too long, so the Bulldogs can reset the offensive line. Clear professional foul.
Yeah, I said that was a turning point because that was going to be going into if Addo-Carr gets their ball, it's 12 or 14-0. So it was huge by Kossi to do that one. Yeah, and probably right about Burton holding down. I don't like it when players hold down and then the ball player's actually in the, he's trying to play the ball. I think it's kind of, that's kind of definitely in professional foul range. Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously after that no try, the Bulldogs went down the other end and scored through Josh Addo-Carr there. So do you think defensively we could have done a lot better in regards to stopping Addo-Carr from scoring that try, or do you think it was just too difficult? We know Addo-Carr's Josh Addo-Carr's very fast.
Yeah, I think you got to give credit to the Bulldogs there. They made the right decision at the right time and just caught us. I think our outsides were trying to read as much as they could, and then the only thing you can ask for is that from the scrum bases that your forwards push out a bit more. I think Lussick may have got caught up a little bit in that block play, but I don't want to overlook. I don't want to give too much to the blame on the boys. I think it's just a really, anyone other than Addo-Carr, we can catch them. But he's just got that elite speed. So great pass, great play. Yeah.
Yeah, so after that, obviously the Bulldogs, they extended their lead out to 14-6. I think it was 14-6 there. I still think even though they scored that try, I still believe we could come back. I still believe we were still in a chance to get back in the game. We just need to, be patient and, get down the other end and make sure we apply some pressure on the Bulldogs' defensive line. And we did actually. So, I mean, what were your thoughts on those last couple of minutes with us, trying to make a comeback?
Yeah, I think what was Dylan Walker's comments in the press conference was like, they asked him what do you think what happens after they score a try. Then he said, it's cliche, but you just get back into the grind, simple messaging, and then you pretty much just get back into it, and that's what they did. And then we kind of set up really well. And I just want to make a comment about the attack.
Yep.
I've watched the attack now for the last 4 weeks, and it's really an attack, quite an expansive attack. I think we have really high stats in passing. But I was thinking about it, and it's kind of an attack like where you ask a lot of questions all the time. Doesn't mean that the other team, get the questions wrong. It's just that there's so much volume that eventually they're going to get one question wrong. It's like getting a multiple choice kind of test, and you're getting the same questions asked all the time, but you're repeating the same questions so much that sometimes you're just going to slip up. And I think that's like our attack at the moment is that we've got so many decoy runners, all these different lines, and they're getting it right most of the time, the defenses, but then there's just a few times where mental lapses start to come in, and then that's when we get these line breaks. And I think that was kind of how we're putting on pressure is like we're just throwing so much at teams at the moment, which is really good. When we're in attacking set going into the goal line, it's just we're throwing so much at teams and it's really catching them. It's tiring them out, and the edges are starting to open up. You'll see Jackson Ford start to open up, and I just think it's full credit to the system we have at the moment that we're starting to see a lot of these line breaks, and we're leading in line breaks as well. So yeah. Sorry about that. I just wanted to share that thought. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. That's all good. It's great that you shared that. Actually, just on the comment here saying Samoan Metalhead, he's saying solid defensive effort from Ford in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah,
a good try saver against Max King.
Bro, amazing try saving ability from all of our team. Like one-on-one tackles. It's every week someone's doing a one-on-one tackle. I can't believe it.
Yeah, the defensive work from the team so far this season's been great. I mean, we're not conceding as many points as we usually would,
Yes.
in games, which is great. And it's great that the effort they're putting in, just some of those crucial tackles that they're making on the line, when under pressure. This team usually in the past is, not being able to save those certain tries, So, it's just great to see that Jackson Ford, made that tackle, but there was a lot of others that made some good try-saving tackles as well in crucial moments. So, I mean, Jacko's saying here that the Waz after-game presser was great, but hilarious as well.
Yeah, good humor, really good
It
vibes. I think between Walker and Webby as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome there. So, so look, regards to the finish, Sean Johnson, the man of the moment, gets up and scores that try, and just vintage Sean Johnson. Just the Sean Johnson of old we've come to know of. Just was a great try. What are your thoughts on that try that he scored? Got us the lead, more importantly, in the game, and with only a couple minutes to go.
Yeah, I think the great ones know when to do that, when to dummy and go. They get a feel for it, and then they pull the trigger. They know when to pull the trigger. And I thought that was perfect time, like 65-minute mark. I actually predicted, 65-minute mark would be a turning point for either team. I thought that they would kind of really have a strong, tough battle, and then by the 65th minute, whoever was on top was going to dominate. But I just thought Sean played that beautifully. Nice lead run by Addin as well. I don't think it was an obstruction. If you think about it, it was just a pure line break, and then Addin was a support player. So I don't get where that obstruction thing's coming in. But yeah, like everyone's saying, there's just Sean. He's found another level, but with a quality coach and good players around him, he can still do what he does, And he's proving everyone wrong, even myself. Happy to be proven wrong.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I came into the season thinking that Sean's under a lot of pressure. I know he's been around the game for a long time, and I think just being that senior player and that, and obviously last year wasn't his best year, but obviously he's worked hard in the off season. He's come in, and so far this season, I think he's done pretty well. I know I'll probably still say that yes, there's some areas that maybe should keep improving in. His kicking game is still a bit debatable. I'm not too sure what you think on that one.
I think his kicking game is doing a job at the moment. I think it's clear. Like we're going to back our defense. We're going to put these bombs up, and we're gonna just bet on the fact that you can't break down our defense, and it's working at the moment. But I agree with you. It needs a bit of variety sometimes. Yeah,
no worries on that one. Yeah, so I'll just read this comment here. David Stevens, he's saying, "You're my favorite Warriors content creator. What was up? I really enjoy your thoughts and analyst videos. Very unique."
Sure, this isn't my wife and an alias. I appreciate it, David. If you're out there, brother, I thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And Hackathon Rugby, he's saying here, we don't see the support player end up in front of the play often, but he did run through the play. Ainsley said, where's Addin supposed to go? He can't disappear.
That's
it. Exactly right. Yeah. Exactly right. And there's a lot of people that will question, say, it looks like an obstruction. It's a clear obstruction.
If that happens, sorry to interrupt you there, but if that happens in the middle of the field and it's just a pure line break, Addin's just a support player. So Marnie just misses out there because it's not an obstruction of any kind. Yeah, and that's what Hackertime's saying there. He can't disappear, and he just maintains his line. He just follows up. Yeah.
Yeah. So Samoan Metalhead saying, "Yeah, look how Webster has turned this team around in a short period of time." Yeah, and there were a lot of positive signs in the off season as well with Andrew Webster. And usually I don't get too excited over the pre-season, off-season talks, but so far it's paying dividends so far this season. So there's good signs ahead, and hopefully those signs continue throughout the years.
Cool. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and Jacko's saying Sean Johnson's playing tough. His defense is outstanding. Yeah, his defense has actually been good so far this season.
Yep.
And Jacko's saying Slater and Gus Gould said that Sean Johnson's try was legit. That is enough for me. Yes, fair enough. Yeah, actually don't really want to comment too much on that try at the end of the day, but that try was actually for me the pivotal moment in this game for the Warriors. Yes. It was a key moment for me. Do you agree with what, or do you have another key moment that you believe in this game?
No, it was the kind of,
Yeah.
what was it, the apex of the game, right? It was leading up to someone making a play. I thought both teams were really good in the middle. I got to give credit to the Bulldogs. Their back five competed, and it was a big battle in the back five, really, for meters. And then it just needed someone like SJ to take it to the next level, and that's what it asked for, and he did it. Yeah.
Yeah, and Hakatoa Rugby saying here, replying to Jack in regards to Sean Johnson defending Viliami Kikau, he said that Sean Johnson did the job on Kikau on the edge.
Yeah, I definitely agree. He did. He made one-on-one tackles. Newcorday came in big too. If you look at it, Newcorday actually helped out as well. So I think that just both of them together shored that up, and Kiko had nowhere to go really. Yep.
Yeah, I mean that was probably going to be the test whether Johnson could aim up and defend against Kikau, because obviously that's not the easiest thing to do, up against Viliami Kikau. And I think Viliami Kikau didn't really have much of an impact in this game. I don't think he did. I mean, Jacob Carraz was outstanding for the Bulldogs. I thought he was good. Burden was, I don't know. I don't think Burden was much of a difference. I don't think he had much of an impact. I don't know what your thoughts are on that one.
I think Burton's kind of in that trap where we were with Sean, where
you
don't have another half to kind of alleviate some of your, like every kick was. It reminded me of Sean, where he's doing every kick on the fifth, and it's like that's kind of the situation they're in with Burton. Like Flanagan isn't giving them much, so it's kind of hard to really say. But you know, he was dependent on his bombs. But honestly, our back three, they were just neutralized it. I was really impressed with Kossi, man. He, usually Montoya's getting a lot of the ball because of a right-footed kicker, but this week it was because of Burton. It was all towards Kossi, and he just did a great job.
Yeah, on Edward Cozy, actually, they a couple of times the Bulldogs, you could see in the game they were trying to target him. They're always trying to kick them. You could see that they were trying to kick them all the time, and every time Cozy was under pressure, he just managed that pressure very well.
He really did, bro. I've got to give him credit for that one. I thought he had a drop in him. I thought all of the back three had a drop in them, and that's what I was worried about. But they all stood up really well. Yep.
Yeah. So Nicholas McCutcheon, how's it going, Nicholas McCutcheon? He's saying, I'm impressed, Fanatics. First Andy Raymond, now was up. You always get the biggest, and the best, mate. Appreciate the kind words, Nicholas McCutcheon. But
thanks, Nicholas. Brother.
Very appreciate that. Jackie's just saying here that Burton was very average. But anything more you'd like to add on in regards to this game before we get into the stats and the man of the match?
I just want to talk about the depth players. I've got to give credit to Lussick and like Tane last week. I think it's pretty clear that Webby is not going to rejig any of his key players. So I'd be fair to say that anyone that gets a call up is either going to be like for like hooker for hooker or fullback for fullback, and the guys have just stepped up. I want to just give them credit. I mean, Lussick had a decent game. We saw that it wasn't Egan but he still did his job. So, and we got the win in the end. So, got to give credit to them. But I just thought we matched their back five. I thought their back five were really dangerous, and you could see in parts that they were. But our guys stood up. Just mentioned that about the back three and Kossi. But I just think a consistent performance, guys. If you look at the 4 weeks, the performance has been consistent. Goal line defense, line breaks, attacking structures. We're starting to see a pattern here, and that's just really. I'm just excited that we can say, despite what the results may be, we just say, hey, this is going to be a consistent performance from the team every week. So that's all I have to add to that.
Yep. Well said there. So look, we'll have a look into the stats now. So and then man of the match. So game stats from this one, scoring summary. So tries to Viliami Vailea, Marcelo Montoya, and Sean Johnson for the Warriors, and Sean Johnson 2 from 3 conversions. Jacob Carraz for the Bulldogs, and Josh Adokar and Matt Burton 2 from 2 conversions. And the possession, Warriors 51%. Bulldogs 49%. Completion rates, the Warriors 88%, Bulldogs 81%. Completed sets, Warriors 37 and Bulldogs 31. All running meters, Warriors 1,670 meters, Bulldogs 1,539 meters. Post contact meters 450 meters for the Warriors. Bulldogs 403, and line breaks Warriors 6, Bulldogs 2, and tackle breaks 37 to the Warriors, 24 to the Bulldogs. Average play the ball speed Warriors 4, Bulldogs 4. Tackles Warriors made 327 tackles to the Bulldogs 357. Missed tackles Warriors 24, Bulldogs 37. Ruck infringements Warriors 3, Bulldogs 2, and penalties conceded Bulldogs 5, Warriors 4. Errors Warriors 6, Bulldogs 9 there. So what are your thoughts on all those stats there in regards to the game?
Yeah, I think the running meters are quite low. I mean, you looked at last week, we were doing 1,900 meters. It tells you that it was just a tight game. It was a battle. And I think for most of the game, it was a battle. But then you look at those post-contact meters, and you got to say that our guys started to really get a good roll on. We started winning a lot of those tackles. So I think that was the main stats for me. And then pretty much, yeah, defensively, I thought completed sets was quite good. We only had 5 incomplete sets. Yeah, and then as Hakatime's saying, line break assists, like we're still averaging really good line break numbers. So it just goes to show that our offense is getting there. It's breaking teams down, and we're getting guys through holes. So it's really good. I thought, yeah, the even position. I think we were 55% last week to 45% at times, and then this week is obviously close to 50-50, and I think the game reflected that. But we did a lot more with the ball that we had, and I think we just applied a lot more pressure than them. Yeah.
Yeah. So the other stats here. So most tackles, Jackson Ford for the Warriors there in 41. Max King led the way for the Bulldogs on 48. And the most running meters, Viliami Valer with 165. Jacob Carraz obviously there with 194. So, yeah, Carraz was great, and Valer also. So, yeah, there's some good stats there. But I'll just read the comment here. So, Jacko's saying, does anyone know how bad Tohu's injury is? No, I haven't really heard anything.
No, I haven't heard anything either.
Haven't heard any news there on that one.
I think Webby. Oh, sorry if I can just. Webby did say something about like that Tohu's had this before.
Yeah.
He had a talk with him, and he said, "I've been through this before." He kind of knows the time frames, but I didn't know what it was. So it sounds like it's maybe an old injury, but can't get any much more than that.
Yeah, and you saw that he was trying to come back onto the field in the second half. You know, he was trying to run it off, but you know, he just thought, no, I'll just go to the sideline, you know, he was trying to play on there, but you know, just the injury didn't probably might have been. Hopefully, it's nothing too serious. Hopefully, it's not something that will keep him out for a very long time. So Jacko's saying attack is more Warrior like, not set up play. Yeah, exactly right.
It's actually like the decoys are all the same. Like it's not technically a set play, but it's actually like eyes up footy. So the forwards, Tohu, Dylan Walker, they have the option to play the short ball. They can do what they want. I think everyone's just reading it really well. Yeah.
Yeah, and Samoa Middlehead's probably just getting on the same floor. Yeah. Webster's pushing for more eyes up footy when the opportunity presents itself. So Andrew Webster, he was part of the Panthers system when they won the premierships back to back. Believe he was the attacking coach here too. So
wow, yeah.
So he's got a bit of a imprint sort of into the attack. I think he is probably. You can see it, yeah. But so on to the player ratings now. So we're going to rate the players out of 10 and just give a little bit of thoughts as to why we rate them that number. So fullback was Chance Nickel-Klugstad, CNK. What were your thoughts on Chance Nickel-Klugstad's performance on return back into the side?
Yeah, I mean, I've got here like really just solid. No errors, no missed tackles from the looks of it. And then just good injection when he needed. He kind of helped Lussick out a bit. You could kind of see that he was in and around the ruck. I think he just played a really good, solid game out the back there. And, you know, I was worried initially about the bombs, but he diffused a few. And then he good meter numbers as well. So, yeah, I thought he was really good.
Yeah, so what do you rate him out of 10 in terms of the performance?
So I've noticed with a lot of my ratings that it usually goes up a point
Yeah,
if we win. So but I've given them a 7. I'm not sure
yeah,
if you're
yeah.
on the same line. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on a 7 too. So I've got a
Okay.
7.5 out of 10. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think he was good. I thought he was good. Just did his job pretty well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think a pretty decent return back after being ruled out because of concussion. So well, I
Yeah.
think it was
Yep.
concussion. Yeah, with the previous week.
Yep.
So yeah, on the wing was Edward Cozy. Now Edward Cozy, I actually gave him a 7. I gave him
Okay.
a 7 out of 10. I mean, I thought it was actually quite good. What do you agree or do you disagree with what I've rated him?
I've given Ed an 8, and my
Yeah,
thought was
yeah,
I thought it was his best game.
yeah,
If you looked at it, he got so much traffic his way with the high ball. He diffused everyone. Um, I don't blame him for that Edo card try as such. I thought it was kind of a mistake by the centre and the wing. And then good meters, no errors as well. I based my 8 on the fact that I thought it was his best game. It wasn't about getting tries or anything. It was about neutralizing Burton, and he did it. And that's what I thought. He stepped up. I just gave him an 8 for that. Yeah.
yep. So Samo and Middlehead saying he gives Edward
Yeah,
Cozy an
I wanted to
8.5.
give him I
Yeah,
wanted to give him
an
man of the match,
8.5.
but
Yeah,
I thought he was that good. If you really watched it, I thought he was that good. But I given him an 8. I just
yeah, and the amount of pressure that the Bulldogs try to put on him, in terms of their
huge,
kicking game.
huge
Yeah,
amount of pressure.
and he handled that pretty well. And a lot of people, always a bit iffy on his defensive game, and
Yeah,
and that. So
I think I'm giving Ed the 8 because we know his past, so
yeah,
it's kind of like he's shot up so much. But I
yeah,
thought he was great. Yeah.
yeah. So the centre now was Viliami Valia. I actually, yeah, look, I'll give him a 7. I'll give him a 7 out of 10. What about you?
Yeah, I've got 7. I thought that first try was kind of just a mental lapse, but
Yeah,
then he kind of made up for it in the 2. He set up one and scored one, so it's kind of you got to give him credit. And then his running meters are really quite good. He is a physical talent. People finding it hard to tackle him. He just brings something, and then his lines are really good with like that line he did with Sean, and then setting up Montoya. I thought was really good. So yeah, I gave him a 7 as well.
yep. So I gave him like I said, a 7. So Adam Pompey, what were your thoughts on Adam Pompey in the game?
Yeah, I thought Adam was great. No real errors as such in defence. Apart from the Adokar kind of, that was a group effort. It wasn't really one guy. I gave him a 7 because I thought he deserved the try as well. He created that out of nothing. But so I've given him a 7. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably echo your same thoughts. I'll probably give him a 7 there too. Marcelo Montoya, look, Marcelo Montoya, 8 for me, 8 out of 10. Marcelo Montoya every week, always delivers. Always puts in great performances. What are your thoughts on Marcelo Montoya?
Yeah, I gave him a 7, but I kind of agree with you. He's like, it's because he's consistent. So I've noticed the guys that are consistent, my numbers dropping from them because I'm asking for more, but they're already giving a good amount.
Yeah.
I just thought that one error was maybe his one lapse in the back end of the game. But I wouldn't fault you for giving him an 8. I thought he was great as well. He just brings so much energy, man, on the kick returns. He actually earned 2 penalties by just being dominant in his runs, So yeah, I got to give him credit there. Yep.
Yep. And to the halves now, and Tamari Martin at 5'8". I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. What about you?
Yeah, I've got 7.5 here. I thought a good defensive game again. That's kind of his strength. I was really impressed with the 2 forced dropouts. I was asking for that a few weeks ago, just something a bit more. That kick that he put in behind Carraz was perfectly weighted. that thought that's just what we needed at that time. And then, just his overall game is really good. He diffused that grubber in the goal line at the end of the game. I hope he's okay with the HIA. I don't think it's going to be a missed game. I'm hoping. But yeah, I thought he was really good. 7.5 as well.
Yep, and to the halfback now, Sean Johnson. I'm going to give him an 8. 8 out of 10. What about you?
Yeah, I've given him an 8.5. Just because I thought I gave him the man of the match, and he pulled that trigger at the right time. I thought, usually it's decoy play, but then sometimes you got to pull that dummy, and he did it. I think we talked about the kicking game, but I think the kicking game was right for this game. It was going to be backed on our defense. And his passing game, if you looked at it, was really sharp. So, and defense, like we talked about that, just those one-on-one tackles.
Yeah. And his defense, especially in the game, and obviously coming up with that match when he played that try that got us to win in the end. So yeah, Sean Johnson was outstanding. Yeah, but the prop now, and that was Addin Fonua-Blake. Look, I'm going to give Addin Fonua-Blake here a 8 out of 10.
Yep, I've given him an 8 as well. Just thought dominant again. If you look at actually Addin, they're using him on the fourth tackle on kick returns. So, they're getting more bang for their buck. Him catching the ball on the fourth tackle, like it just starts to get a bit. And I think we'll talk about Bunty as well, is that, Bunty's kind of doing a different role that's impacting him. But I thought Addin was great. I think I just want him to stay healthy, man. I just want all these guys to stay as healthy as they can. But he really is dominating in the middle.
Yeah, and I think this year he started off the season pretty well. I think last year wasn't a season where he was too great, but yeah, I think this year's been. I think he's been a lot better. I think he started the season pretty well. But the hooker and Freddie Lussick, who had to come in for Wade Egan in this game, I actually give him a 6.5 out of 10. What about you?
Yep, I gave him a 7 just to come in,
yeah,
unexpectedly, and then I thought he did a good job, good service. You're not going to get much running out of Freddie, out of dummy half, and I think that was one area we were really missing Egan. But he didn't look out of place on defense. I thought he'd look a bit more out of place. I get targeted a bit more, but he was quite stiff in his defense. So yeah, I've just given him a 7. Yeah.
And now, speaking of Bunty Afoa here is, I'll give him a 6. I'll give him a 6. Yeah, I think he's lacking with a bit of game time. Not getting enough minutes. I don't know. I don't think he's been too great, but also it's not helping. He's not getting a lot of minutes as well. But yeah, what are your thoughts in regards to Bunty Afoa in this game and the season so far?
Yeah, I agree. I gave Bunty a 6. I think it's kind of dependent on, like, he's doing a lot of he's taking the first tackles on a lot of hit ups, so he's not going to he's going to get the best defense. And like I said, with Addin taking it on the fourth tackle, Addin's numbers are going to look a little bit better. So he's doing a bit of the grunt work, I would say. I thought no errors. His running meters were a little bit better from last week for the amount of time he did. He did 30 minutes, I think, this game. He did 17 last week, so he's getting a bit more. But we are got to ask the question: are we getting the most out of him? And can we get someone else in there that may do a better job? I don't. It's hard to say right now. But you do want more from him just to help kind of, soften up the defense a bit more for Walker and Jazz when they come on. But I got no answers for you really at the moment.
Yeah. And usually, we've had Mitchell Barnett start there as well. So I think when Mitchell Barnett does come back, I think Barnett will be back in the starting side. I think Barnett will be in that prop position somewhere.
Yep.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Actually, just a little bit off topic, but what are your thoughts on Mitchell Barnett? Do you think he's better in the prop position, or is he better in the second row?
I think he's better in the prop position for us.
Yep.
Like, he can easily play second row. We saw that against the Cowboys, and be damaging. But I think in our system right now, he actually fits that position well. So yeah, I've got to say keep him in at the prop. Yeah.
Yeah, so the next player in the second row was Jackson Ford, and Jackson Ford, I actually gave him a 7 out of 10. Actually, I thought it was great actually in this game. What about you?
Yeah, I've given him a 7 as well. I thought he had big tackle numbers, like most tackles, so he was really involved. I think he kind of added to what missing Barnett. He kind of brought a little bit more of that energy, that kind of not a little bit of enforcer, I suppose, but just really hard play. I thought he gave away a few sixer gains that were just a little bit lazy, but I get the idea. You're trying to slow down their ruck speed, but he gave away 3 sixer gains, I think. So that was my only concern, just a little bit slow. But apart from that, like try saving tackles, everything was just in amongst it, and that's what you want.
Yep. Marata Niokore, I gave him a 6 out of 10. What about you?
I gave Marata 7. The reason I gave him a 7 was because I thought he was doing a lot of the dirty work. Now I thought Marata was going to be more like a knee quarter type line runner, like attacking threat.
Yep.
He hasn't been used like that at all, or it just isn't working right now with him and Sean. So he's doing a lot of dirty work, but I do like what he's doing. He's kind of like bringing on a lot of energy into his runs. If you look at his runs that he's doing, he's like really damaging. Like he's kind of picking up the speed of the play of the ball when we're a little bit flat. So I kind of give him credit for that. But yeah, it is a little bit not the best. Like I just want him to kind of click more with SJ. I think that hasn't happened yet, but we'll see what happens over the next few weeks here.
Yeah, just reading a comment here. So Jacko saying Niokore was at least a 7 or 8. His defense is brutal. Yeah, fair enough. Yep,
fair enough.
I can see where you come there, Jacko. There. So 13 lock was Tohu Harris. So he played majority of the first half, but the second half we didn't see. Well, we only saw a little bit of him in the second half, and then he came off. So it's really hard to do a rating on a player that's come off with an injury. So I don't know. What are your just quick thoughts and on that?
Yeah, I think he just looks a bit tired. I think that was my concern, was that some of our players need a break and they've got a massive workload. I think it's perfect timing if he is off. I think he needs a little bit of a rest. He looked a little bit tired even before the injury, just sort of slow, like laboring to get to play the ball or get up. So I think it's perfect timing. He might need a week off. He's done a mountain of work, and this is what I was worried about initially, was that he's going to be doing a lot of work. So I wouldn't mind if he has the week off. I hope he does. No, we'll see what the injury is, but yeah.
Yeah, look, not really much to add on in regards to Tohu Harris there, but onto our bench there. So 14 was Dylan Walker. Dylan Walker was outstanding. I actually give him an 8.
Okay.
An 8 out of 10. Yeah, I don't know if you agree with me on this one, but yeah, look, I thought he added plenty of impact to the side. I mean, just coming off the bench, and I thought the team's attack looked very good when he came on too. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on Dylan Walker?
Yeah, I gave him a 7.5. I just took a few points off for those errors, but nah, you're right, man. He deserves an 8. High work rate. Like I said, he's just a momentum changer, Actually, no, change that. I'm going to give him an 8. And I think, yeah, he's got a really good. He comes on at the right time, and he's like a Swiss Army knife. He kind of takes prop hit ups. Then he ball plays first receiver, and then sometimes he's playing on the edge. He's just everywhere, man. I got to give him credit. Yeah, I got to give him an 8 as well.
Yeah, and Bailey Sirenen. Yeah, look, I thought I don't know how to. I'll give him a 6. I'll give him a 6 out of. I'll give him a 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, I don't really know much to say on the.
Yeah, I've got no notes. I've got no notes here for me. I've given him a 5.5. I said okay, but not much there. Like, just wasn't. There's not much to talk about with what he did.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really see too much. Like, I watched the whole game. I was trying to find what he did, Bailey Sirenen, but I don't know. Maybe that's...
Just a point on Bailey. So I feel a lot of our fans and guys that I've talked through, from my page and
Yeah,
podcast, is that they are concerned that Sirenen isn't offering much. And I think that was a perfect game to see that Sirenen didn't bring much to the table. Like last week, he was playing a little bit of hooker, and you could justify what he was doing, but it was kind of a game where you saw that Sirenen isn't bringing the impact that what a Curran would be. So I think you might look to say that Curran might come in next week for Sirenen or something like that.
yeah.
Just you want bang for your buck out of the guys that are coming on, and he just didn't deliver. For the time that he has on there. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jazz Savanga, I gave Jazz a 7 out of 10. What about you?
Look, I've given him an 8. Maybe I based that a bit off the numbers. I just looked through his numbers and they're extraordinary. His run meters, everything like that. Yeah, I get what. Sorry, just back on what Samoa Middlehead is saying. He is more. I get with the Sirenen. I know why that is. Why he's there in case of injury, and that just that game you kind of saw maybe that you just need someone with a bit more impact in terms of just a running. That was like a game that just required we needed more runners. Yeah, and same with what Jacko's saying. I think Webster does like him for that reason, and Curran maybe is on the outer still. Yeah, tough one. But back to Tavanga, I just thought amazing impact, and he just worked hard the whole game. Like his hit ups, man. He was, his hit ups were really good. Like he did bump and spins. He was doing everything, So I just gave him an 8. Yeah.
Yeah. And the last player filling up the 17th spot on the bench was Tom Ale. I didn't really see too much for Tom Ale, actually. I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. But, he's a good young player in that. But, with the minutes, I'll just give him
He didn't get much minutes. I think they kind of pulled him off a bit early, maybe for interchange purposes. But
yeah,
he is doing a good job for what he's getting.
Yes.
But you just want, it's like kind of similar to Bunty. You want to see them get at least 20 minutes and put some work in. But yeah, I gave him a 6.5. Just I thought he was good for what he did, but it was too short, Yeah.
Yep. So that's all the player ratings there. So just want to give a where is it? Just trying to find it there. It's on my Word document. Just get me up. Man of the match 3-2-1. So I've got it on here somewhere. There it is. Yep, I've got it. Okay. So my man of the match. So I'm going to give my 3-2-1, and then I'll ask Waza Podcast on his one as well. So. Number 3, I've actually gone with Adam Fanua-Blake.
Yep.
Number 2, I've gone with Walker. There, Dylan Walker. And number 1, I've gone with man of the match, Shaun Johnson. What about you?
Yeah, I've got to do kind of a similar one. I've just got AFB at 3.
Yep.
I've got Kossi at 2. I just really thought he was that good. And then I've got Shaun at number 1. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so I'll just go hear the comments here. So someone Middlehead saying Curran's got attitude issues. It will drive Curran to up at his game and will reap the benefits when he is finally selected. Oh, I didn't know that. Someone Middlehead.
Yeah, I know. I agree with Samoa Middlehead. Is that Webby did say that he sent him to New South Wales Cup to work on some things.
Yeah.
But I think what the good thing is that he's responded well. I've heard reports that he has responded well to that criticism, and I think a lot of the guys that are getting sent to Cup or whatever, they're kind of responding well. Everyone's buying into what Webby's, his system. And I think actually Webby's got like a clear system of who's first, second, third in all positions, and it's up to those guys that to compete for position. So I think from what we're hearing, everyone's taking it well. The criticism, yeah.
Yeah, and if you look at our New South Wales Cup game, I don't know if you watched it. Got some very good young forwards coming through there as well. You got Zion Ma'u, and there's some very good young players there. Just quickly, what are your thoughts? Did you watch the New South Wales Cup game? Did you see the game?
No, I didn't, unfortunately, but
Yep.
I've heard really good reports. Like Zion Mo is the guy that's popping out. I need to watch some of his footage. I mean, like Samuel Middlehead was saying, and a few others, that he's ready to rock and roll for first grade at some stage. What I do think, though, is that everyone that's in the 30-man squad will get a game. Will be used. I think we're seeing with the HIA rules is that, you know, the whole 30-man squad's going to be used. So it's up to every player to really, be ready to rock and roll. And Tane and Freddie Lussick has been, they've been ready to rock and roll. And I'm thinking about guys like Demetrius Sikafula and all those types of guys. They've got to be ready to rock and roll because they will get called up. They will get called up.
Yeah, it's just good. It's just great to now have that team, just to.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, because in the past, obviously, we've been relying on the Dolphins, and, we've now got that sort of pathways to start building.
Well, you can see how screwed up it was, eh? Like, you don't realize how much this stuff impacts the flow of the first grade team. And now you're seeing with the SG Ball and then the New South Wales Cup, and then things are just starting to flow. And then I've heard reports that Webby's going to have the same system across all grades, so it wouldn't be surprised when guys come up that they're just already hitting their straps straight away, So, yeah.
Yeah. And on that, Jacko's saying Gave played great in reserves. He'd be great with the young forward development, especially during games. Yeah, I was actually, when I saw that James Gave was named in the New South Wales Cup team during the week, I was actually surprised. I wasn't too sure. With James Gave, I don't know where he ended up going, because obviously he was in the Warriors for a while, but he must have, been still around at that time. So,
look, if Gave's still got the legs in him,
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a call up this year. Like, I know Gave's game; he's hard, man. He runs hard. Webby could use him, So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, just one more thing I want to ask you actually before we get on out of here is team selection questions. So, with this week's game against the Sharks on Sunday, what sort of changes do you see happening? Do you see any changes happening? Obviously, we're going to have some players unavailable this week, but who do you see coming in, like for the team being named on Tuesday afternoon?
Well, I'm thinking Barnett will move to the lock if Tohu isn't fit. What that does is it lets Ford and Newcourty stay on the edges. It lets Bunty stay in starting. But then, Barnett's going to have to play big minutes. I'm not sure. There might be other options at lock. I'm not sure, but that's what I'm thinking. Like I said, if the first string players are available, Webby will pick them. So if Dallin Watene-Zelezniak's available, I think he takes Kozzy out if he's viewed as the first select right wing. So I'm not sure how that's tracking. I'd say the same for Williami as well for Vailea. But you got to say that the guys that are in there right now have kept their, have kept their spots. Like Kozzy has really kept his spot, I believe. But I believe Webby doesn't want to rejig the system right now. Like, I don't believe moving Dylan Walker to lock is the right call. I think he's an impact player. I don't believe moving Jazz to lock is the right call. If you can move Barnett, I think that's the best decision you can do. You want to keep your impact players in the right spots, I believe. So I kind of see it would be a similar. Oh, DW's back next week. Okay. Well, I think Kossi stays in, right? But yeah, that's what I think from what Webby's shown. He wants to keep his key players there, like Sean, Tamaiti, CNK, Dylan, Jazz on the bench, and Barnett either at front row or at lock. Yeah.
Yep. So someone Metalhead saying Egan, Barnett, and Dylan Watene-Zelezniak are back.
Oh, sorry, and Egan back in. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So like Lussick out. If Dallon's in, Dallon's the first pick. I think. Yeah, he's gonna take Kossi out. Unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a shame because obviously Kossi's been playing well, but obviously Dallon's always going to be.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, but I think one other thing that he mentioned even about Jackson Ford was like, he said in the press conference that Jackson Ford is like a draft horse. he plays the whole game. You let him get into the game, so that nullifies the idea that Curran was going to be the first choice back rower. I think some people are still thinking that Curran's going to eventually earn that spot somehow, but that's locked up. So I think the selections are pretty are locked in. If you're the first choice, you're the first choice, and it's up to the other players to beat you out of it somehow. Kossi's probably the only one that I think is definitely potentially competing for Dallon's spot, but if Dallon's viewed in Webby's eyes as the main guy, then Dallon will take that next week. Yeah, this week.
Yep, and just a question here, actually, for you here. So, Taylor Brooks is asking, do you collect Warriors jerseys? If so, what is your favorite?
Nah, man, I'm very poor. This is the only jersey I've got, man. Sorry, the way I spend my money, I spend it too much on fast food. So I should be saving up for more Warriors gear. But the one of my favorite jerseys, definitely the 2002 one. I thought was great, and I love that 95 away jersey. I love any of that away jersey with predominantly white. The Super League ones were pretty cool as well, I thought, with the red shorts. I was just looking at the red shorts. I was thinking, man, that's a throwback, red shorts. I didn't really like the New Zealand pattern ones, like the New Zealand flag, that 2010-11 era, where they had flamethrower t-shirt, jerseys. I'm more of a traditional. I like the blue. I like the blue, green, and red.
Yep.
And the white, and as the main colors. Don't get too tricky with it. That's what I view.
Yep. Yeah. And Jacko is saying here in regards to the selections, he's saying I'd keep Valia in his attack is potent. And he's saying here also that Ford has overtaken Curran for sure.
Yeah. That's Webster's comments support that. Yep.
Yeah, and that was a surprise going into the off season. I was always the one that would say that Josh Curran would be starting in this team all the way, and it's turned out the complete opposite. Yeah, I mean, Jackson Ford's actually proven me wrong, and it's great. I'm happy to be proven wrong. I wasn't the biggest of fans of the signing in the off season. I thought it was just there for a bit of depth, but he's come in and actually done a great job. So
I said it was the most underrated signing of the NRL season. I think even the Guru said he's like the most underrated player. Yeah. Like how the Dragons didn't keep him, and I think it's definitely shown that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Samo and Metalhead saying here that 40 is the fittest in the team.
He did say that.
He did say it in the press conference too. That one. But I think that's pretty much it for tonight. Actually, we've done a bit of a review. We've gone through the player ratings and given our thoughts. And I'd just like to thank the Wires Up podcast for coming on the channel. Really do appreciate him giving up his time to come on and chat all things Warriors and it's great to have you on.
Thanks for having me, man. Like I've mentioned, I think I love the work you're doing. Keep doing it. You inspire me. I've just started my journey. You've been doing it for a little bit longer, but I've really enjoyed the community of content creators and just the general Warriors fans. It's good to have a yarn with everyone. I chat with a few guys like on Instagram and stuff like that. So it's really good. I just appreciate it. Sometimes it feels lonely in a place like Hamilton where it's predominantly rugby. You're not sure who you can talk to. So I've got a good network of people online at the moment. And but yeah, feel free to catch me on Instagram. I'm on Wise Up Podcast on Instagram. Do a little bit of video stuff on there. Yeah, and thanks, Samuel Metalhead. Yep, I'm on Spotify as well for the podcast. But I appreciate everyone's love and support. It's awesome. Yeah, and keep doing what you're doing, brother. Love your work.
Yeah, thanks. No worries. And I really do appreciate those kind words. And yeah, please go and check his content out on podcast apps, Spotify. He's on Instagram as well, Wise Up Podcast. Put the links in the description down below, so go and check him out there. But thanks everyone for tuning in and watching this live review and player ratings for the Warriors versus Bulldogs round 4 clash. Don't forget as well, make sure you like this live stream as well. Make sure you click the thumbs up on the live stream. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow night for another show. Actually, this is going to be a preview for the game against the Cronulla Sharks with the Rugby League Outlaws as the special guest as well. So tune in for that one. Cheers, everyone. Have a good night.
See you guys.